Hi, my name is Madia Humaira binti Masharudin from MC11018. Have you ever sit and think about why we never normalizing sex education in school or teach them to your children? Meanwhile, it is so important to make them understand about sex education. Do you know about the bad effects that may occur from your non-acceptance towards exposing sex education to your children or make it compulsory in school? If all of your answers are no, it means that you never understand about the importance of sex education, especially among young generation. So today is the day where I will make sure to change all your perspectives towards sex education. Before that, allow me to preview the main points for today's speech. In this speech, I will talk about the effects of not teaching sex education to children, the reasons to support sex education in primary school, and finally about parents' role in teaching sex education to their children. Before I explain more about our topic today, let's begin with the first main point, which about the effects of not teaching sex education to children. Do you know that when a child misses sexual education, there will be fundamental gaps in knowledge among youth about their bodies, sexuality, gender, and also about healthy and safe relationships. And because of that, there is an increased risk of sexually transmitted infections and unplanned pregnancy, especially among youth. Even some of the girls do not know what will happen to their bodies after they getting their periods for the first time. By this point, you know how important it is to teach the children about sex education. Besides, if we are not exposing them to sex education, there are high chances of sexual violence will occur among the underage categories. As we can see in today's society, the cases of sexual violence are increasing from day by day, such as raping, sexual harassment, incest, and pedophile. In fact, not just for some children, but the adults also do not even know when they are being sexual harassed, being pedophile, or being the victim of pedophiles. This is because they do not realize about the obscene jokes are actually leads to sexual harassment. Since you already know about the effects, let's moving right along to the reasons to support sex education in primary school. Even in today's society, with all the advanced technological development, sadly this progress is not followed by our thinking. Most of the people out there are still thinking that sex education should not be compulsory in primary school, even with all the bad effects that are happening in our society. Here I want to state all the reasons why we should support sex education in primary school. Firstly, because of the failure of abstinence-only education, or also known as sexual risk avoidance programs. In fact, the researchers have researched that this method is not going to help them in decreasing the rates of sexual health problems and sexual violence among youth. Secondly, sex education is comprehensive and realistic. Teaching about sexuality education does not mean we teach them on how to have sex. Instead, it teaches them numerous ways to keep them safe. For instance, they are safe from all the sexual health problems and also from being the victims of sexual violence. Thirdly, the reason to support sex education in primary school is to teach them the right values of sex. Sexual values are more personal, and adults often disagree for their children to learn about it. However, if the right authorities do not teach them, the society will eventually teach them the wrong values. Last but not least, one of the reasons to support sex education in primary school is to change people's perspectives on sex education. We need to start telling them that it is normal to teach about sex education towards children. because sex education is about to care about their safety and their awareness. In order to change their mind, we need to support sexuality education to be compulsory in primary school. Referring to the second point that I have stated, we need to remember in this case, it is not only the school needs to play a role, but parents also should play their roles in teaching their children about sex education. Now that we have a clear understanding about the reasons to support sex education in primary school, let me share about parents' role in teaching sex education towards their children, or the things parents need to teach their children at early age. Today, I want to remind all the parents out there about what to teach to their children at early age related to sex education. Firstly, whenever your child goes out to play with their friends, you need to know what kind of play they do. Parents should be aware about this because even young people nowadays sexually abuse themselves. Secondly, when your kids have reached the age of 2 years, you need to avoid getting dressed in front of them. So eventually they will slowly begin to understand about the importance of privacy. Thirdly, as the responsible parents, make sure that you have activated parental controls on your devices to limit downloads from any suspicious sources. You must keep your children away from any objects that can arouse them sexually. Finally, parents should teach their children about how to wash their private parts perfectly and properly, and also strictly warn them to never allow anyone to touch their private parts, including themselves as well. Let them know about the sensitivity of their private parts and how crucial it is to prevent those areas from being touched. Since this is the last main point in today's topic, now I am going to bring you to review all the main points that I have stated from the first until the last. Today, we have learned a little bit about the topic of sex education must be compulsory. In the past few minutes, I have explained and revealed the effects of not teaching sex education to children and the reasons to support sex education in primary school. Furthermore, I have also listed a few of parents' role in teaching sex education towards their children, and you start to realize how this education could give a huge impact into your children's life. In conclusion, before I end my speech, once again, I remind you that sex education is not about teaching young generation how to have sex. In fact, it is more to giving them awareness and help to reduce sexual violence among young generation. Well, it is never too early to talk with your children about sex education. Moreover, in Islam also claim that teaching is conducted in stages, that is according to children's ages. It is a constant phase beginning from preschool. Finally, I hope all my audience today will realize about all the things that I have said just now, which about all the main points. Know that I am delivering this speech with full of hope in my heart to bring awareness and to change your perspectives towards sex education. Johann Wolfgang von Goethe once said, "Knowing is not enough, we must apply. Wishing is not enough, we must do." This quote reminds us to apply what we learn and take action towards success instead just waiting and hoping. Before I forget, I want to say thank you, and I am honored to be with you today. Thank you.